Hi everyone, welcome and welcome back to the Grey Havens. Today we will be looking at your limiting beliefs, anything that you still hold that does not really support you. I don't want to prolong the introduction, so please remember that this is a general reading, so it may not resonate 100%, and that's absolutely okay. And also, this is what I called a shadow reading, so it's not exactly all unicorns and rainbows here. There are some heavier topics that will be most probably discussed, so please keep that in mind. If you do not feel like you want to tackle this type of a topic right now, don't force yourself to do so. Anyway, we have group number 1, group number 2, group number 3, and group number 4. As always, choose using your intuition, and I will see you at your group. Hi, group number 1. You chose the number 33, retreat, with the sky above and the mountain below. So this is going to be a reading. I will refer to the card a little bit later, but just a quick message. Number 33 or 6 may be significant to you in some way. I will leave the oracle cards for the for the very end as well. So let's check what tarot cards you have. Okay, so let's check what tarot cards you have here. We have the Ten of Wands in reverse, the Knight of Cups, and the Lovers. Oh, I will not fit that here. Three of Swords in reverse, and Eight of Wands. And we also have some cat hair. And here we have Eight of Swords in reverse, Six of Coins, also reversed, Nine of Swords, Seven of Wands, and Eight of Cups. And I will need to readjust the cards a little bit. Let's try like this. I will take back this one to the front in a minute. So I think now it should be, yeah, this should be okay. Okay, guys, so what I see, first I will go through all of the cards, but in general what I see first is the fact that you may be the avoidant type of a person. So the way you respond to any problematic situation is mostly by avoidance. So you try to wait the problem out. Some of you may even try to behave like there is no problem at all. So like you don't want to acknowledge that the problem exists when you have one. So as I said, we will be looking at limiting beliefs. It may be triggering for some of you, so bear with me. Yeah, so I feel like you don't really want to tackle the problems that you have, or you don't, or you may be afraid of doing so because of reasons that was that's not the explanation. For some of you, I feel like you don't really know what to do when you have any problems because you didn't have a good example coming from, let's say, a parent figure or any caretaker figure that was supposed to teach you how to deal with your problems. So because you don't really know how to how to approach, how to solve the problems, what to do with them, the only thing you can do is basically try to wait it out and hope that it will solve itself. And that's one of them. Well, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a limiting belief, but it's a very limiting trait of you. Some of you perhaps now realize that that's not the way to do things. But anyway, you may not know any better, right? So you may not have the skill set and the spine, so to speak, to try to tackle the problems in another way. For others of you, you just you were actually taught that this is the way to deal with problems, that we waited them out, and we do not deal with them. We just wait till then they dissolve on their own. So anyway, this is an issue that comes from your past, the ways you were raised, and that's really impacting your life right now, because you would be able to solve your problems in literally in minutes if you didn't wait them if you didn't wait for them to basically solve themselves. Another thing I see is the belief of I don't know how it's said in English, but there is this quote about putting out the cheek. Like if someone slaps you in your cheek, you give that person your second cheek. Something like that. I'm sorry, I'm really terrible at quotations, at quotes, quotations also. So anyway, there is this mindset of you being the martyr in a very unhealthy way. That's what I was trying to tell. So for whatever reasons, I'm not going to dig into the reasons too much, because there is quite a lot of messages that that I can see here. So for whatever reasons, you have this martyr personality, this martyr approach to a life, to the point that people start, using this, and it's not really beneficial for you, because it's absolutely okay to give something, not expecting anything in return once or twice, or for the people who actually deserve it. But I feel like for you it started to manifest itself in an unhealthy way. So you are always the one to volunteer for everything. You are always the one to sacrifice yourself for other people. And even though it's noble, it's not the way to go. It's a limitation that you put onto yourself, because you are not living the life that you should have been living. And you're not in a space that you should be at this point. Another thing I see is, for some of you, for many of you, it's not like us, just some part of group number one. Many of you, most of you, do not are afraid of sticking out, so to speak. So you may be afraid of being unique, of showing off your quirks, of showing off your talents, anything like that. Like with those nails, like the nails that sticks out will be hammered down to the ground. So for some reasons you believe that you shouldn't be yourself. So there is a persona that you and that you have the mask that you wear. And it's what I feel, it's actually quite unhealthy on your soul level. It's not only about my cat is arguing with the water right now. So it's not not exactly about only the external world, like only the way people see you, and maybe you are really concerned about what they think of you, and you don't really want to stick out because you want to fit in the society that you are in. And as always, to some point, it's not a bad belief, but you took it to an extreme. So you try to be a very mundane person. You sort of tend to even despise your own uniqueness, and that's throwing you out of the balance that your soul needs. Okay, so officially we are changing the host of the program to Cat Artas. Okay, I'm sorry about the interruption, but my cat decided to ruin the setup, like completely. Okay, you may also be really immersed in the hustle culture. And that's what I see. You believe that the only way to achieve anything in this world is to work, to take on responsibilities, to not have any you know emotional social life. And yeah, I see this like do mentality, which is again um, come to the point that is really unhealthy for you. And some of you don't really feel like you have the, I don't know how to say it, the brain power to be on your own. Like, you may have the external locus of control. What it means is whenever there is a situation that you you may tend to explain this outcome um, as influenced by some external factors. So, I had a bad luck. I didn't get the job because I don't know, that the manager didn't like me, or it was a bad weather, so I had wet shoes because it was raining, and because of that something happened, like I was late to my work. So I hope you get it. It's like you may have the tendency to blame everything else, everything that's outside of you, that you don't really have the control of. So you put the blame on the uncontrollable factors. So that's what's called the external locus of control. Or a great example is I scored an A on the test because I am intelligent, not because I have worked really hard and I have learned and mastered the material, but because I am intelligent. So if someone says that he or she scored an A on the test because of intelligence, it's an external locus of control. But if someone says that the score they get results from their hard work, which they have control of, this is an internal locus of control. So you may have the tendency to bias towards the external locus of control, which also is this one is actually quite may be quite devastating for your life, because you don't feel, because of the way you think, you don't really feel that you have the control of your life, because everything is caused by the environment, or by the things that you don't really can't control, and you don't really can influence in any ways, right? So that one is that's a big one actually. Another thing that I can see is, and this will be for some of you only. So you are a thinkers and not really doers, in the sense, let me phrase that well. So you have some ambitions, you have a great plans, you have a great ways of putting those plans and ambitions into actions, but you don't really go anywhere with them. It's not really a limiting belief, but it comes from a set of limiting beliefs. That's more of an outcome for some of you. Some of you are really wishful thinkers, so you may have like dreams and thoughts that you would like to be a certain way. You would like to have certain things, well, whatever, right? But you don't really put any action towards being the person you want to be, or having the achievements you want to have. I also see some issue with the authorities. To be honest, you tend to neglect anything that is said by a person of higher authority than you, like by the parents, the teachers, uh, or maybe someone that's a higher that has a higher position at work, that actually knows more. How to put it in a way of a limiting belief? It's like you always think that you know better than anyone. You always think that, actually, we all think we know better than everyone else. That's quite typical way of thinking for our brains. So I guess that's a limiting belief that everyone has to some point. But yeah, for you, it's actually not beneficial, because you don't really want to admit that someone could actually know a little bit more than you, that someone could actually be more experienced in a certain area, to the point that you even try to like sabotage this person's advice. So you try to um, behave in the exact opposite way to what the person was advising you to do. To It's like, I will show you that you're wrong. I will do it totally differently, and you don't know anything, right? And one last thing that I can see is sort of a belief that you're not good enough for the world. You may have some pretty neat ideas, let's say, for a business that requires communication, and you tend to think that you are not really the person to deliver the messages, for one reason or another. So you have this tendency of the belief of you being like intellectually not good enough, or not having enough experience, like a little bit of a perfectionistic type of a person. Okay, so let's check the advice that we have here for you. So this card is also for the advice to be honored, the retreat. We have the butterfly spirit. Transformation is beautiful. Time, distill yourself. And full moon in Aries, a fiery climax approaches. Okay, so what I see here, like the most important message from the spirits is for you to start exploring yourself and start working on yourself, but without any external influence, I would say. So, like with this retreat, you may want to, well, for some of you, you may want to like physically remove yourself for a little while from the world to just, take some time and be with yourself only. But it's not, of course, necessary uh, to do so. But anyway, it's not about, going to a therapy or, admitting that, well, there's something wrong with me. No, not at all. The thing is that you will benefit from just taking the time and being with yourself, really, literally distilling yourself, uh, and trying to see what parts of you are actually yours. What caused, let's say, what caused the beliefs that you have? Was it maybe some situation that happened that had some effect on you? Maybe that was maybe someone told you something and you internalized it and you agreed to it on the soul level, and now you think that things are as they are, but it wasn't your thought to begin with. You just took it as your own because you for one reason or another you agreed to it. So yeah, I see you. I see you need to get into your cocoon, so to speak, and not literally, not, and not for, doesn't have to be for a long time, or it doesn't have to be like one long, hermit phase to do so. But you may do it in chunks, in chunks, so to speak. You may put some time aside just for yourself, like let's say once a week, or maybe even once a day, like for 5 minutes. You may try to, sit down with yourself and really try to mm, ponder the beliefs that you have, maybe the ones that I was talking about. Maybe you will find some other beliefs that you um, that are limiting, that you had, that I didn't cover here. Also, if you see in the cards some other messages that I didn't tell about, it means those messages are just for you personally. So you may also look at the cards, through your own intuitive eyes, so to speak. So anyway, I see that you will be actually able to go through maybe not all of those beliefs, but most of those beliefs, and you will be able to quite easily navigate through them and distill what was actually, bestowed upon you and what to do with it. I want to check the time description, because I know that in this book there are some nice rituals. Okay, so mythology teaches that a minotaur haunts the labyrinth of your psyche. As you walk towards your center, this monster prowls and roars, trying to scare you off your path by revealing your fears and inadequacies. So actually, yeah, some limiting beliefs too. But you're never truly alone. You have allies like time, her scent purifying your thoughts so you can. Oh, there's a typo here. Her scent purifying your thoughts so you can see what's true. Time kills off what's other, whether that's germs and microbes or thoughts and feelings. See, that's what I was talking about. This is time's special magic. She calls your inner flame to burn the dross, distilling your spirit. Intuitively, she knows you from not you, and she sees you clearly when you cannot. Time is a powerful plant. Do not call on her unless you're truly ready to be tempered in her flame. So yeah, that was actually what I was talking about with discerning what actually was your thoughts and what wasn't, who imposed the beliefs on you. That yeah, okay. So because I lost myself in in my own sentence. So, and for some of you, if you want to dig a little deeper into the meaning of the cards as well, these are the I Ching cards. This is the number 33, retreat, with the sky above and mountain below. I'm not going to read it from the book or interpret it further. I want you to do your own research in that topic and see what other messages you will find for yourself. I'm not going to put any links to the sources in the description, because I want you to find it for yourself. So this is like just additional personalized messages for you. Your spirits will guide you to the messages that you are meant to see and to read. So anyway, I'm going to end the reading here. So I hope you enjoyed it. I wish you all the best, group number 1, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hi, group number 2. If you chose the clinging like fire, this is going to be your reading. This card I will talk about at the very end, actually. We will start with your tarot cards, and then we will move to the oracles for the advice. So let's see, what are your limiting beliefs? So we have the Emperor in reverse, Queen of Cups, Page of Cups in reverse, the Hermit, and the Two of Swords in reverse. And here for the clarification, we have Ace of Cups, the Death card, Queen of Swords, King of Swords, okay, and the Four of Coins, which is Four of Pentacles. Okay, so first thing I see is like a mix of a neediness and being afraid of what tomorrow will bring. So let's explore it a little bit. Okay, so first things first, you think that making a decision will always come with some sacrifices. You are afraid that when you make a decision about something, you will, maybe you will gain what you want, but you will always also, not always, but also lose something else. Yeah, that's one thing that I see. So you are a little bit like overprotective about your belongings, about the things that you have in your life. Okay, I feel like you may also think that, the way of empathy is not the way to survive in the world. Like, you are very rigid, very like, I see you like being made of a stone. Like, literally, I see a person made of the stone without any emotions, without yeah, as I said, without an empathy. To translate it into a belief that you hold, I think that you may think that having emotions or showing an empathy or showing even understanding of other people's makes you weak in their eyes, or makes you weak in general. Okay, so it makes you hide your emotions and not really wanting to deal with them, to the point that you don't really know your own feelings. You cannot really name, you cannot really mm, see the emotions you have or the feelings you have, which in turn uh, goes even further to making you afraid of the feelings, of the emotions, because you don't really know them. You don't really know them even on like just a theoretical level. So that causes this fear of the unknown. Another thing I see here is you thinking that you are all on your own in this world, that there's only you, that no one will help you, that it's even futile to ask for help, that no one is going to answer if you ask for help in any way. And you may have the tendency to cut off people from your life. And that actually is like sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy, because you don't really believe that someone could help you, that someone could be there for you. Because of that, you discard your relationship, whether there are romantic relationships or just friendships, any kind of relationship, even a simple acquaintance. Like, you tend to discard those people immediately because you think they're going to leave you anyway. So you don't really trust people and their intentions, even if they communicate them to you. You have the tendency to, yeah, to discard it. At the same time, you may be so afraid of being alone that when you have a person who you actually accept, so to speak, it may be hard for most of you, but you may have like one person who you mm, actually accept and do not feel sort of threatened by this person leaving you. You may be overly clingy. I think that's the word. So you tend to like be glued to that person. You don't want to give this person like even a freedom. I would like this bed with this girl. And for some of you, not for many, but it will be like just couple of people. You may be fiercely protecting that person from like unknown dangers that you just made up. This is an extreme example, of course, but yeah, nevertheless, that's something that I see. So I'm not, to be honest, I'm not filtering any messages that come. Okay, some of you may also think that the only way to deal with people is to dominate them. When I look at this card, I hear the quote, I believe that was from the Alice in the Wonderland, when the Queen of Hearts was shouting off with their heads. So, and here we have the heads in the background, and the screen does not really seem, like someone to be messed with. But I think for you it's a little bit right now out of control. So you may deal with people very, very harshly because you believe that that's the only way you can actually do it. Instead of trying, maybe some negotiation, any more like empathic approach, like this lack of empathy that is here is actually quite profound. So you may think that the more empathic way, more sensitive way of going through life is not really the way that you should uh, choose. Well, of course, I feel like you believe that because of the circumstances that you were raised in. I think that's the that's where you should look for the reasons for that. So maybe your environment wasn't too encouraging for any any emotional endeavors and any more emotional approach. It was all very rigid, and you have learned that if you're not tough as a rock, um, you will not go far in life, so to speak. Okay, so let's check your advice. So we have the clinging like fire, number 30, fire above and fire below. Lizard spirit, dream the world into being. Apple, forbidden fruit. And oh, you got the two moon cards. So let's rearrange it a little bit because they will not fit into the screen. So I will get those three here. And let's see the moon cards. What do you need to release? And you are good enough. So we've got waning moon and full moon in Virgo. Okay, so what I see here is well, a lot of burning for sure. Also, the lizards are usually connected with the fire elements. But anyway, I feel like there is a lot of release to be done here. And that's, oh, I didn't really I didn't realize it, but yeah, we also have it confirmed by the moon card. What do you need to release? So first of all, I think that there is this urge to control everything, to pinpoint something that you may want to tackle. So there is this urge to control everything and everyone in your life. You do it fiercely. You try to have control over your life, which is absolutely fine. But I think that you may have the tendency to take it to the extreme, to be honest. So as with everything in life, we always have the control over ourselves, and the rest is actually the outside environment that we are in. Even other peoples are just part of our environment and that we interact with, and we don't really have the control over them. So that's something that you really need to work on, to realize that you don't have the control on over other people, over the circumstances that you are in or that you used to be in, but you always have the control over yourself. And I feel that you have hidden your empathy and your emotions because you were thought that it was, well, literally not good enough, that it was something to be ashamed of for one reason or another. So the spirits are reminding you of the fact that you are good enough, and all of your emotions, all of your feelings are perfectly valid, and they shouldn't be something that you are ashamed of. Let me check the Apple card in the book because they have some pretty nice rituals sometimes. Okay, so here we have it, Apple, the forbidden fruit. Apple has been given a grief since in the beginning, when she learned that feeding people and teaching them to know themselves can be a dangerous thing. She became associated with snakes, shame, and fig leaves, and it's been all dance lesson, curtsies, and domestications from there. Apple is the witch of the wild wood, forced to clean up and come in for tea. But a skirt and pumps can't hide her knowledge of the circling stars and circling seasons, the deep foam of the earth and the warm weep of a summer rain. We may think that we've tamed wild Apple and brought her to heel, but even quasi-domesticated, she still gifts us with the sweetness of understanding ourselves. Apple asks, what have you forbidden yourself? So yeah, that's basically what I was talking about. You have been raised in the circumstances and in the environment that was, well, the way it was, right? But you have learned that some parts of you, I would say especially the emotional parts of you, are not good. But to be honest, they were not good for the environment you were in. They are still good for you. They are perfectly perfectly good for you, and they are a part of you. So now what I feel is that you are finally in the position when you can start shaping your own world. You're not in those circumstances anymore, but you still like carry on those teachings that do not really apply for the place you are in right now. So now it's time to start reshaping your beliefs. Now it's time to starting be more in accordance with your new environment, and also to start shaping your own world the way you want it to be. So I did not really refer to this card, to be honest, and that's on purpose. So this is a little homework for you and some additional now personalized message. This is the I Ching card with number 30, clinging like fire, with fire above and fire below. And the homework for you is to go Google it. Try to find some information about what this card means. I'm not going to tell it to you, and I'm not going to give any resources for that. So your spirits will guide you to the explanation that you need to read. So that's one, like a bonus part of the reading, and it will be, if you really Google it and if you really ask your spirits to give the explanation to you, not cheating in the comments, please. So this will be your personalized additional message from the spirits regarding your limiting beliefs. So again, it's number 30, fire above and fire below, I Ching cards. So group number 2, thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm going to end your reading here. I hope you will have the best life that you can imagine for yourself. So thank you again for being here with me. I will see you in the next reading, and bye bye. Hi, group number 3. You have been blessed with lots of cat hair because he just ran through the desk. So anyway, if you chose the number 31, mutual attraction, this is going to be a reading. I will leave this card for the last part of the reading. We will start with the tarot, and we will also have some oracle cards as well. So let's see. We have the Six of Cups in reverse, the Hierophant, Nine of Cups, Seven of Swords, Nine of Swords. Here we have the Fool, the Two of Swords, the Lovers in reverse, the Knight of Coins in reverse, and the Three of Wands. Okay, so give me a minute, I will check what I can see here. And okay, let's also adjust the cards a little. Okay, group number 3. So the first thing I see is actually the way you think about people. I don't know why, but you think that it may be controversial, okay? So bear with me here, take it with a grain of salt, but I will tell you just what I see. You inherently believe that all people are good and they can change, or that they don't really mean what they meant when, you know, doing something bad or telling you something bad. So basically you refuse to see, like, you refuse to acknowledge that some person may be not good for you, meaning that this person may may manipulate you or be, well, in any way, shape or form unhealthy for your life, but you don't really see it, you don't want to acknowledge it, because you think that this person, it was, just a one-time mishap, and this person or those people will certainly do better next time. But there's been like a lot of those next times, and the situation has been always the same. You don't really want to see the beast for the beast it is, to be honest. And having I said that is a little controversial because having a good faith in people in general is of course not a bad thing, and it's not a limiting belief. But failing to see that someone's behavior is not for you, is not beneficial for you, is actually more harmful than good. That's actually a kind of a limiting belief, and that's something that you need to be aware of, that you need to finally see. Okay, another thing that I see is something that actually my grandma has, and that's I giggle because it's a little bit funny for me, because I don't. I mean, I do understand where she comes from, and I do understand where you may come from, but it's still a belief that I see and I don't agree with, to be honest. So anyway, I see you thinking that everyone else, like you not the closest, well, sometimes even the closest family, but anyway, I see you thinking that everyone else is just plotting to do you harm. You may think that it's totally different, like the opposite from the thought what I just talked about you're not seeing that some people are actually harmful for you. But to be honest, it may go hand in hand in your life, and you may not even realize it. So anyway, especially I see especially neighbors, and like the closest community. So you may think that everyone is just plotting to do something bad, just to make your life miserable. And for most cases, of course, you may have some case of a neighbor that is actually quite mean, or maybe you don't like each other, and that's actually true. But most of the people don't even care about the fact that you live in the neighborhood. Like it's not like they just doesn't care about people in general. But then they are like, okay, there's this guy, he lives there, or there's this girl, she lives there, and they are like, well, it's just it, he or she just lives there, it's our neighbor, and we don't have any grudge or anything against that person, just a person living next door. But you think that it's that their whole lives, I may be exaggerating a little bit right now, but I just want to give you this cartoonish image of what I see. So you may think that all their lives are just revolve around making pranks to you, or yeah, making something to you that you don't really like, which is mm, of course not true. You don't really see the good intentions in other people. So that's quite interesting, because some of you will have one or another of those beliefs. So some of you will just don't see the harmful people in your life. Others of you will just see only harmful people in your life. And for some of you, you have both, actually. So as I said, it may make them hand in hand. So you will like put on the pedestal, whatever it's called. So you may you may elevate. Oh, that's the word I am more familiar with. So you may elevate like your closest family to the even though they're harmful, and you may think of all other people as the bad ones. So that's actually quite a tough situation, to be honest. And I know that since you are watching this reading, then you want to actually do something about that, and you want to see what you don't see really. So yeah, it's hard. I know it's hard. It's a heavy situation, but realizing it is actually the first step towards getting out of this mindset of the mindset that it's not serving you. The other thing I see with those two cards is you think you are unable to reach your goals. I don't know why. I don't really want to, dig too deep into why, because it's like this is a general reading, so there may be like multitudes of reasons why some of you don't feel like it. But mostly what I see is an influence of others not believing in you, or telling you that you're not really the person to achieve this or that in this lifetime, because you're just not without any particular reason. And you may feel like whatever you do, whatever you try to achieve, is like an never-ending story, like a never-ending path that will not really have an end. You may feel like you will not reach the goal, but that you want to reach, but that's mostly because you cannot see the milestones that you are achieving along the road. So you are very focused on the end goal itself, but you're not really acknowledging the path you're threading, and you don't really see the milestones, the road signs that you get. So that gives you this impression of not ever achieving your goals. So I'm trying to put it more in the words of what a limiting belief about it is. I think that you just believe that only the end goal is what matters, and uh, not the journey that leads to it. And yeah, I think that's the best way uh, how to put it. So only the results, only the finish line, only the achievement itself, not the way uh, you try to achieve it. And that's something that literally gives you a lot of anxiety, because you refuse to see your progress in any endeavor that you have. You refuse to see the progress, because the only thing you can see is the fact that you didn't achieve your goal yet. Some of you have been strongly indoctrinated in the past. When you were, the most malleable, when your mind was most malleable, you have been indoctrinated in some way. For some of you, of course, it will be like a religion, giving the Hierophant, and the fact that this particular card depicts a pope, so maybe even specifically a Christian religion for some of you. But that actually influenced you very heavily, you and your way of thinking. So to the point that, you may have an opinion about the world, or whatever opinion. I will not go into I don't want to waste your time on me giving any examples, but you have an opinion about the world that it may not be, may or may not be true. It doesn't really matter. But what matters is the fact that you are unwilling to see the other side of the coin, so to speak. You are unwilling to, even listen to another person's point of view. If this point of view of another person's is different from yours. So You are basically afraid. Jesus, like this indoctrination goes really deeply to the point that you are afraid of challenging your own reality. If you know what I mean, that's something that is quite heavy, and I know that because I come from the family where my parents were quite heavily indoctrinated. They just fear, they literally fear uh, anything that is not in accordance with their own point of view, to the point that they would be really aggressive about that. So I know that's not something that um, you can work on just because, right? If you want to learn how to be more open-minded, mm, I think there may be some, professional help needed here, because I know how hard it is to get through that, to open your mind once again, to see, to see the world not only with your own eyes, but to be able to see it with also with the eyes of other people. And that's really limiting you right now, because the only point of view you have is your own. So you don't really, you cannot see any situation. You look at any situation extremely subjectively, and you fail to see like the bigger picture, so to speak. There is also another very specific message, and I believe it won't be for all of you, it will be just for a couple of people, that you don't really remember your past the way it was. You may have some repressed memories. You may have some repressed memories of some events that I don't see it's like they are like repressed so they are forgotten, but it's another way. They are repressed in a way that they were changed somehow. So the situation that happened in the past, that might have been, well, probably traumatic, sad to say, but the situation that was probably traumatic for you, you have reframed it, like re-remembered it in a way that it's at least neutral. So that was the level of trauma that this situation was carrying was so high that you have uh, your mind tried to like make another narrative about it, a completely new narrative, and that wasn't so traumatic. But to be honest, I cannot really see the specific situation, but I know that's something that right now influences your life, and you don't really know about it because, well, you remember it in a different way, in a differently than it was actually in real life. So that's something also that could be sort of re-remembered, like solved by a therapy. This is a heavy pile, to be honest. You guys so far are the heaviest pile, uh, and the heaviest pile today. I hope you're holding strong still. So let's take a look at your advices right now. Let's stop this heaviness a little bit. So we have the mutual attraction, like above and mountain below. We have the ant spirit, time to collaborate. Yeah, I think the therapy with a professional, at least regarding some parts, will be quite beneficial for you. Reishi, defying gravity. I will read that out from the book because they have some pretty nice advices there. And mutable moon, nothing is yet set in stone. Right, so first thing first, as I said, here a help of professional would be actually very good for you. You may also have some limiting belief about the professional help. I know that from the experience because I have some issues with the psychologists and therapists as well. So I get you, I get you. But actually, if you can find a good and affordable therapist, I would strongly suggest to tackle at least those two last beliefs and issues that I saw here. So the repressed memories from the past, like reframed memories from the past, and this indoctrination that was going on. So that's like two things that are hindering you the most right now. But a good information from our spirits that is nothing is yet set in stone. We have the mutable moon here, so they are reminding you that you are mutable. Not only the environment, but you if you want to change, if you want to have your life better, you can change yourself. And I'm being reminded of the hermetic principle, as within so without. So if you want your life to get better, if you want to change it, the first thing you change is yourself. And you change yourself from within, and then it will be reflected in the environment around you. So every change starts within, every change starts with us. And even the neurobiology can confirm that. Neurobiology and psychology will confirm that our thoughts shape our reality. So that's a reminder, but also very good, a very nice information that we have it. Let's check the reishi. Okay, can you see it? I hope you can. Reishi mushroom is the Yoda of the plant world, helping you assimilate life's experiences and turn them into wisdom. The Taoists teach that reishi can show you where your power lies, which some might call your destiny. Reishi is not some soft, clingy clingy mushroom, but instead a strong, structured, gravity-defying shelf. She asks no less from you. How can you defy anything keeping you from finding meaning, purpose, and health? Like all the best teachers, Reishi points you to the path that lets you walk it, taking your lumps and bumps along the way. She doesn't want you to rely on her strength. She wants you to find your own. But if you're willing to do the work, Reishi will help you transform from inside out again. So we have the change that comes from within. Let's see the ritual. I didn't read the rituals for another piece, but I think that for you it may be quite beneficial to find your path and step into your own power. You need to release whatever is no longer serving your highest good. If your home or workspace is full of stuff, call on reishi energy and move along what you no longer need. Clutter, whether material or emotional, blocks you from stepping into your true work. If stale thoughts or ways of being needs to be released, try this. Write down thoughts or emotions you want to be rid of. Don't worry about spelling or grammar or handwriting, just write. When you feel emptied, take the paper and burn it to ash, setting the intention to fully release the thoughts and feelings that no longer serve. Sprinkle the ashes on the earth or add them to the dirt in a potted plant, where the thoughts and feelings can be further broken down and composted. So yeah, you may try to you may try to actually, I would say also that you may try to journaling to get rid of the thoughts that are bothering you, but also to help yourself with pinpointing as specific issues that you may have, because journaling, believe it or not, is quite powerful because it forces your mind to actually focus. If you just think about something, it's like at the same time you are thinking as well about getting out the trash can, or putting your children to sleep or something like that. You have a lot of thoughts going on there, and there are some reflective thoughts around around there too, but they are not, you're not focused really on them, even though you think you are. But when you try to write, and it's especially, neurobiologists say that, especially handwriting, when you have to, put your motoric abilities and your spelling abilities and your thinking abilities all together to write something down by hand, that's when the majority of your brain is motivated to focus on the task that you are on, what you're writing about. So it really forces your brain to focus on that, and that will give you a lot of clarity. So yeah, you may try to journal, you may try to do the ritual that was proposed by the reishi. So just write down your thoughts or your problems and just burn them. And I have one more thing for you, but this will be a sort of a homework. So I didn't really address this card uh, yet, and I'm not going to, other than I used it as a like base energy for the reading. But for the card itself, it has an additional messages for you, but those messages are specific for each one of you. So I'm not going to do the general reading on this one. So I want you to Google it. This is the I Ching card. So if you are familiar with the I Ching, you will probably have no problem with finding the meaning. If you are not familiar, just Google what it is. It's a great divination system. I have it as in the form of cards, actually. So this is the number 31 with mutual attraction, and we have lake above, mountain below. I hope you can see it because I'm recording in a high resolution, so it should be clearly visible, but just I will put it also into description below the name of the cards, but I want you to research the meaning on your own. So your spirits will actually guide you to the meaning, to the interpretation that you are meant to see. So this is the this personalized part of the reading. So anyway, group number 3, I'm going to end your reading here. Thank you so much for being here with me. I know it was a heavy read. I feel it. I feel it in my chest. So anyway, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hi, group number 4. If you chose number 54, Careful Affection with Thunder above and Lake below, this is going to be your reading. So we will start actually with the tarot cards, and I will leave this one for the very end. And also the oracle cards I will leave for later. So let's see, what are your limiting beliefs? We have the 4 of Cups in reverse. We have the 5 of Swords. The Judgment in reverse. 7 of Cups. And the World. Yep. That's better. Here we have 2 of Cups. 2 of Cups in reverse. King of Cups. Queen of Wands. 7 of Swords. And the Page of Cups. Can you see the cards? Let me move them a little bit. Okay, so give me 1 minute. I will check what I can see here. Okay, so the first thing I see is actually quite interesting, because you are somehow resistant to learning the lessons that your life is bringing you. And I see it with this the World card and the Page of Cups. So for some reason you think that learning a lesson requires admitting that you were wrong in a way, which, well, sometimes it does, of course, but it's about being wrong, actually. So I'm trying to put it into some logically sounding phrase, to be honest, but you think that you are not allowed to make mistakes. When you are admitting that you have made mistake, you think that it's frowned upon for some reason, and that's actually slowing down the progress that you would have if you didn't have this limiting belief to begin with. Mm, because when you have the lesson to be learned, you don't really want to admit that you might have been wrong or that you have learned something new, because learning something new also, not literally, but it may be a way of admitting that you, for instance, something that you thought earlier wasn't exactly as you thought it was, right? I hope you get my point. I'm recording all of the groups like one by one, so I'm starting to be a little bit tired. So I'm sorry if I start babbling with no sense. Okay. So anyway, there is this like immaturity within you that doesn't want to admit that you may change in some way, like you may change your thoughts, you may change your opinions, because it requires some form of admitting that you were wrong in some way, and you don't really want to admit it because you were quite profoundly discouraged from being wrong in the past. I think not maybe that wasn't the case for all of you, but it has to come from somewhere, right? So I think that for some of you at least, that was the case, that you have been taught that you cannot admit that you're wrong, that you have to be always right. There is also this sort of a perfectionistic feeling I get from you. So like in another pile there was this feeling that I am good enough, but for you I feel like you have the tendency to say that the world is not good enough in one way or another. It's like with this guy. Let me show you. He's got the 3 cups before him, and they are full, and they are perfectly good cups, and he's even offered the 4th one, but he's like, no, they're not good enough. Nothing is good enough. Like, we're miserable. All of us, we're miserable that nothing is good enough. And I believe it is mostly profound in the area of your relationships. Like, you may be attracted to some person, you may start a relationship with that person, but at the same time you feel like you want more. Like you still even though the person is attractive physically and you get along very well with each other, there's nothing wrong, to be honest, with the relationship, but for some reason you still feel like, I want something else, because I want something more, because reasons. So that's like one of the beliefs. Is sort of a limiting belief, sort of a limiting like attitude to life, this perfectionistic attitude that everything has to be perfect and nothing's good. I feel like you're lying a lot also, but I think like you are lying to yourselves. You may be to some point you may be gaslighting yourself. If you don't know what gaslighting is, it's basically trying to persuade a person into thinking that he or she is insane. To be honest, I'm really terrible at explaining such things, so you may want to Google it. I'm sorry, but Let me give you an example, so maybe it will be a little bit better. So let's say you got angry at someone because maybe you had an argument with a person. You got angry at that person because you were different in opinions, and uh, well, basically it got emotional, and you are because you think that you shouldn't be angry or emotional about an argument. You are talking yourself out of it. So you're telling to yourself, I'm not really angry. That's just, I'm overreacting. It's not a big deal. It shouldn't even be an argument because reasons, right? So you try to neglect what happened, and you try to take yourself out of it. That's one of the examples of a gaslighting, and it's specifically gaslighting yourself, because usually gaslighting is seen among two people, so like one person gaslighting the another, and for you I see like you're basically gaslighting yourself. You are trying to neglect sometimes what you feel, what you think, not seeing the situation the way not really the way they are, but the way you don't want to admit your point of view. That's what that's what I wanted to say. So you have your point of view, you have your opinion about something, and you don't really want to admit that opinion. You don't really want to take it into the consideration because you think that what you think is not what you are supposed to think. Like, with the example of an argument, like it's, oh, that's my hair. Like, it's normal to be upset after an argument, right? And you may try to uh, talk yourself out of it because you think that's not what you're supposed to, not what you're supposed to feel. So there's this gaslighting going on. I also see for some of you the hoarder mentality, like the scarcity mindset of I need to gather things. I need to have a lot of things, otherwise I won't be able to survive or to provide for myself. And I guess you are all probably familiar with the fact that hoarding things is actually um, not beneficial for our mental health. Not even talking about the environment and our space that gets really messy and cluttered. But for some of you, just for some of you, not for many, but for some of you, that goes to some more extreme cases when you try to acquire things at the expense of other people. So you may not be aware of that, to be honest. But that's something that is worth considering in your case. Try to see, uh, if when you have the urge to get something, mm, you may want to pause and really think of it. If it's really something that you want, or is it something that you want just because some other person has it and you feel threatened um, by not having it? That's some person, because someone has, let's say, a new set of kitchen knives, for instance, and you feel threatened because you have your old knives, which are perfectly fine. But for you, this other person is showing off that they are in a way better than you, and you feel how it's said, you feel lesser than them because of that. So there is this connection between mostly between material possessions, even though I'm looking, when I'm talking about it, I'm looking at those two cards, and I know one of them is cups and the other is swords. I know it's not really these are not really material cards, but nevertheless, I see mostly the connection between material possessions and your self-worth. So that's something that you may want to, dig deeper into, to be honest. And also another thing, like the last thing I can see here, I believe, is your thinking that, you need to force your word to others in some way. Like, unless you just yell or shout at people, or, make a really big point, like, I hear loud. I hear the word loud. Mm. So, like, literally, if you don't speak loudly, or in a very expressive way, if you don't, sort of force people to listen to you, they are not going to listen. I'm not really sure what to make of it, but I'm uh, I'm seeing this person that is thinking that they are either going to listen to me or I will burn this place to the ground. Like this type of an attitude. Mm. So for some reason, I I think that you in the past that you might have to, force yourself, force your voice to be heard by the people that were closest to you, and that's where it comes from. But yeah, I think that the only way you know how to, command authority is by force. If you know what I speak, it may not be so literal. For some of you, it may be literal. So you may speak very loudly. You may be like, in the face of the people. Sometimes for some of you, it's not really that literal, but there is this, forcefulness that you need to conduct, that you need to activate. Well, that you need to do it in a forceful way if you want to be heard, if you want to say something, and if you want someone to listen. I feel like you are doing it in a very forceful way, and of course I believe that in the past that was the only way to do it, but right now you don't really see that you don't have to do it anymore. That's what I'm getting. So you may be very charismatic, for some of you, and you may be on some like boss position, like you may be an owner of a company, a manager, a CEO, and stuff like that. So some of you, of course, not everyone, but you may have some position of authority, and you don't really feel like you have this authority, even though you absolutely have it. Yeah, so what I'm being told here is that you are not in the same environment and not among the same people who would not listen to you, even if you scream your lungs out, right? So that's something that you are still sort of caught up on, caught, you know, you're still within the within the mentality that you need to literally scream to for people to hear you. So let's check the advice for you. Maybe there is some. So we've got the careful affection, as we had at the very beginning. We've got the antelope spirit, life is speeding up. Sweet violet, inner sanctum. And new moon in Leo, confidence is your key to success. That actually refers to what I just said about, you speaking up for yourself and, speaking your thoughts out to the people. You may lack the confidence in the fact that others will actually listen to you, even though, let's say your coworkers, or your employees, they are not the people that originally didn't listen to you, right? These were most probably like your family, maybe parents, siblings, or something like that. You might have been, some of you might have been the youngest or the middle siblings. So I see that usually the oldest one would get, the most respect. Um, yeah, so the older one would usually get the most respect. Mm, Sometimes the youngest get the most care, and usually the middle one is the one that's sort of left out, uh, because he or she is, not the youngest, not the oldest. So it's like, whatever, that's the middle child, right? So some of you might have been the middle child, some of you might have been the youngest, but because of the fact that you were the youngest of the siblings, your voice mattered like the least, if you know what I mean. So because you were always compared to other siblings that were older than you, which meant they were more experienced than you, then they knew more than you. So your voice might have been, dimmed because of that. Okay, so sweet, sweet violet sings of sun and springtime, carpeting meadows and lawns with lush purple petals. But this glorious show is mere flirtation. Her true abundance comes in autumn when, quietly and with a little fanfare, she shares her seed with the earth, setting the stage for the next spring's performance. Violet has no trouble separating public from private. She knows both have their place and season. She's the gossip column sociality who quietly works in a soup kitchen on Wednesday. Mm, Knowing life's most important work isn't always done in the public eye. So I think it refers to, perhaps I was right, talking about your job situation, that you may need you may have the need to, violently talk to people, maybe in the public, because you may be a person who speaks publicly a lot of the time. But yeah, I think that this is, first of all, I keep hearing balance. So there is some balance to be achieved here. Perhaps the balance between your work and your private life, and also as a discernment, because all limiting beliefs, they come from something. They didn't pop up in our heads one day, and they didn't just sort of materialized uh, in our thought, in our belief system. They all have some origins. So I believe that once you learn to discern what origins a specific belief have, um, it may help you sort of sort through them. Because I think that sometimes, I will refer back again to the last point with this, um, talking and shouting and stuff. So because maybe just give it a thought. Maybe you need to actually, force your voice still when you are between your siblings, if that's the case, right? Because usually those dynamics do not differ much in the adult life than they were in the when we were kids. But they change somehow because we are now adults and we don't play with cars and dolls. But well, we have larger cars and larger dolls right now. Just that's the only difference. So anyway, you may be an adult now, but the dynamic, like the underlying dynamics, the base of this of the behaviors may be still the same. So it may be actually needed for you to sometimes force yourself and force your voice and force your opinion, because otherwise people will not listen to it. And sometimes you have really some wisdom to share, and people may just sort of omit that. But there are situations when you don't really have to do that. So I believe with this example of work and siblings. So when you are amongst your siblings, you may need to sometimes um, force your voice to them so they listen. But when you are among your coworkers, you don't have to do it. So because you have this you have the authority, and they absolutely respect it. It's just you don't really see it because you are used to you know uh, doing things in the way you would do them, let's say, at home, right? So this is about this discernment, this balance, the ability of you know differentiate between different aspects of your life, to see that sometimes a belief, or maybe some behavior, they are sometimes actually beneficial in one area, but they may be detrimental in another. So that's the advice from the spirits here. So have a confidence in yourself, and know that you don't really have to put everything into the same bag. Have this discernment of the situation, when you need to pull out some tricks and certain behaviors from the from your tool set, so to speak. So I haven't addressed this card yet, and I'm not going to do it because this will be your homework. So quite personalized message. I just used this card for like an underlying energy, so sort of base energy for the whole reading. So if you want to, of course, that's not mandatory. You may as well end the and listening to the reading here. But if you want to dig a little bit more, this is the I Ching card. If you are familiar with the I Ching, that's great. If you're not, you may just quickly Google it. There is a lot of great explanation on the internet. This is an ancient Chinese way of divination. I have it in the form of cards, actually. I don't have coins, I have cards. But anyway, this is the card number 54 with careful affection. And I know you can read it, but just in case, thunder above, lake below. So try to Google it and try to Google its meaning. Don't cheat and don't put, the meanings in the comments section. So your spirits will guide you to the interpretation, to the meaning that is meant for you to hear. So this will be your personalized message regarding the reading and regarding the advice about your limiting beliefs that you have here. So anyway, group number 4, I'm going to end the reading now. Thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you are doing amazing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.